you get your period, but you're on the battlefield.
Yeah,
and
that feeling when you're in the trench. And none of the guys have a tampon. Sarge, I'm bleeding out. They get you? No.
It's my monthly.
It's my monthlies are here.
Hello and welcome back to Softcore, the podcast about all things hard and soft. Hello. I'm Megan Patsel.
I'm Caroline Cotter.
I'm Maggie Widdoes.
And today we're going to be discussing, as we always do, kind of horny topics.
Sure.
We want to get into kissing first and foremost. Will be discussed. So trigger warning for kissing.
Trigger warning for this episode. We will talk about kissing.
Yeah.
We want to talk about the bases, first base, second base, third base, and kind of the steps of a relationship. The kids are Snapchatting now, and that seems to be a vital part of any budding relationship.
Yeah.
So that's what you're going to get into today. But first, the horny corner.
Yeah.
What's been making you horny this week?
Yeah.
Classic question.
Classic.
Kind of news.
Hey, Caroline,
worthy.
do you want to answer?
Hey.
Yeah, thanks, Maggie, for asking me that question. I would like to, I will say that I did write down that I was thinking a lot about kissing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't done it in a while, but I kind of did a little kissing last night.
Yes.
What?
And then,
Yes.
and it's like, and now I'm like, oh, is it horny? You know what I mean? I'm like, is it good?
It made you doubt the whole
But it
foundation
was
of-
good, but then it also...
Were they a bad kisser?
No, they were a good kisser. And it was good, but I did try to do kissing without sex, and I'm kind of a whore, so it was, you know what I mean? It felt wrong for me to just do, and I was very I was like, I'm going to stop there. And I went to this weird, DJ techno thing with a lot of young people.
Wait,
and they were all really
what night
dancing.
Were you at the blood rave last night?
Yeah, I was at the blood rave.
Yeah.
Okay, and this all kind of goes into my main thing is I'm trying to be more spontaneous.
Okay.
Is I really lean too hard into taking care of myself and
Yeah.
saying no to things, and then I won't leave my house. And that's not good for the mentals sometimes.
Yeah.
So
It's
I'm
a
trying
balance.
to I'm trying to just say yes to hangouts, especially when people ask me to hang out.
Yeah. I really get that. Because
Yeah.
it's hard to find the balance of how much of living life is too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But kissing is I feel like kissing is the exact right step of into spontaneous. It is the most spontaneous thing you could ever do is
Yeah,
to
that's
kiss
what
someone.
it says in the Bible.
Yeah.
In the Bible.
Be she kissing.
Be she kissing? Be she
kissing,
not?
Be she
and the
not.
snake came and kissed Eve on the lips.
That's how babies were made.
And that's how babies.
Kissing a stranger is one of the most spontaneous things you could do, too. And that's often what happens on a first date, which I'm assuming this was. First, second, maybe something
He was
earlier,
actually my
hopefully.
husband, and it was the first time we
This
kissed.
was hubby.
He was actually my husband. I forgot
hubby.
to tell you guys I'm married.
My hubby.
And I'm so happy. I love my curvy husband. You guys remember that TikTok? It was a first date, but I was actually trying to do what Megan, you have inspired me to do,
talked
which
about
is
this.
not kiss on the first date, which is hard for me because sometimes I just go straight up fucking.
Yeah.
Or to not fuck on the first date, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think making out for an hour or so.
But
is cool.
I was trying because I think I've gone on dates I've been dating sober people. And just naturally, you're not, it's less kissing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this was not with a sober person. So then I was like, well, I might as well just do anal.
Yeah.
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 But
Yeah.
I didn't.
We're already here.
So yeah, we're already here. Might as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. It is interesting. Because how much of the impulses are you supposed to follow? Because for me,
that's-
if I'm out on a date, I'm having impulses.
That's kind of what we're
Having
getting
impulses.
into
Yeah.
later
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
show. So
Yeah.
that's my horny.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my horny.
Yeah.
That's a platform I stand on.
yeah.
you.
You're running on that horny.
Yeah, oh yeah, I am.
Yeah. Running all
America
over the
runs
damn
on
place.
horny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be such good merch for us.
America runs on horny. Oh,
Yes.
it's really good.
Okay,
All right.
what about you?
Okay, for
You.
me.
Yeah.
For me, I feel I've been a bit in the cerebral horny space.
Sounds
sort
dusty.
of dusty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit dusty. I just came up with this. It's a bit dusty. I just thought of that. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
great
that's
word.
so interesting. That's
Yeah.
so cool that you thought of that just
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
I like the way you think.
That's so interesting.
I don't know. My brain's it's crazy.
You guys want to get it.
You guys wouldn't get it. But I went to this concert, the Wise Blood concert, and she's this gorgeous, beautiful voice, has this very ethereal nature. But the only way I can describe this concert is like I listened to her music a lot and I liked it, but as a performance, like it was performed as within the consciousness of someone who like doesn't know that like DP porn exists. Like it was so virginal. It was so without body. Like even the way she moves her body when she's dancing is very like jolted. Like she has no sensuality in it. There wasn't a lot of like sensuality to it. A lot of feelings and up in the sky, but it's also like, but the fucking, you know, like there's like, where does that lie here? And so it's got me thinking a lot.
Yeah, go off.
Like the combination of sort of cerebral fantasy things like this and feelings, and then like you're just like bodily wanting to like get fingered. How do we marry those? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. So that was that. And it kind of combined with this podcast and ideas I've been thinking about of Adrienne Marie Brown was on, I think it was Glennon Doyle's podcast.
Who the hell is that?
Adrienne Marie Brown?
Yeah.
Oh, my girls.
Oh, no.
Oh, my
girls.
God. She's incredible. Right. Writer, singer, activist, incredible artist and human. And she was talking about like, you know, if you think about philosophically, like I think Buddhism mostly gets it right, but it doesn't contain the component of like desire and like that our urges and like things we want, like those do lead us to good places and show us directions to go and what we want. And so like marrying those things of like, yes, I have the urge to kiss on the first date, to get fingered while walking down the street, things like this. But like but you know, how much of that is just like animal brain and how much is like actually something that's good and allowed. And yeah.
Ooh, this is really cerebral.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I've been in the cerebs,
Yeah.
the cerebrals, the last week.
Like
I think.
disconnecting body from mind.
Yeah,
a bit.
and like how our mind also we can get like turned on intellectually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that can lead to like what the connection is there between our sexuals and our brains.
Sapiosexual.
I believe this is the sapiosexual coming out.
Yep.
You know?
That reminds me of like tantric orgasm. Isn't that what that
Yes.
is? It's just all from the brain. All
I
straight
thought
from the
that
dome.
was when they're doing it at the same time. Like
It's
they
I
it's
might
both-
be
like
getting the words
edging,
wrong.
and it's like about basically linking consciousness so
Yeah.
deeply that you do probably.
Ew,
Okay.
come on, get
I'm
out
gonna
of my
link.
head.
We're gonna link
don't
consciousness
want
today.
anyone to
No,
link
be careful.
this
we
is
might
a
link
promise. On this podcast, we will link consciousness and all orgasm at the same time, and that's a promise.
Everybody everywhere comes at once.
By
Yeah.
the end of this episode today.
Yeah.
That's a line from Dick's, the musical. I
Yeah.
think it's on the marquee that they stand in front of. Everyone everywhere.
Go see
comes at
Dick's.
once.
Good.
Yeah.
Aaron Jackson and Josh Sharp are geniuses.
Yeah.
They're the best boys.
That's going to inform a lot of the
A
horny
lot.
that's being spoken
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
today. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's sort of where I've been at. Of like how much of desire is like good and leading me in the direction of my more of my truth in me, and how much of it is like me being a horny 13-year-old and how do I do it all?
Yeah. It's also interesting because sometimes the brain, like, sometimes the urges are right. It's like the woman was
Yeah.
saying about Buddhism or not Buddhism.
Yeah.
And it's like, I find a lot of times if I'm really in my head, and this is not at all what I'm saying you're doing, and also I make mostly bad decisions, is like I'm trying to justify not feeling the way I want to feel. You know what I mean?
Yes.
To get,
So-
get the bad thoughts out.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And there's something too like also how much of this is like societally induced shame around like having physical experiences and physical pleasure in a way that like is free and liberating, and how much is like trying to avoid other feelings. And yeah, I think it's like, again, like Buddhism mostly nails it. I get it. Like if I could, but there's just this really bodily part that I'm like, I'm not willing to give that up. Like that's important to me. I just have to figure out how to integrate it into my life.
Spiritual, even.
It's about spiritual horny. That was I'm on spirit horny.
A little bit spiritual.
horny.
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm sort of engaging in podcasts of like divine pleasure, you know, these sorts of things.
Yeah.
Reading some like deeply cerebral sexual texts.
I thought you were going to say the Kama Sutra.
Yeah.
Reading the Kama
I'm reading
You
it.
should one
I'm
time.
not doing it. I'm actually
down.
just reading it and taking notes, annotating. I'm writing essays, stuff like this.
Interesting.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should do that for book club. Read the Kama
read the Kama
Sutra.
Sutra.
Yeah.
The joy of sex and the art of seduction.
Art of seduction, art of making
Calling
the deal.
in the one.
Calling in the one, which I brought today.
People love that one.
Yeah, somebody told me to get that once. This was like 5 or 6 years ago, so I wasn't even trying to like call anybody
Do it
in.
like that.
But it was like after a breakup, and someone was like, I got this book, and the next week I met my husband. And I was like,
Tough to
and
hear.
it was someone you don't want to hear advice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like,
And their husband was a billionaire somehow.
no, it was like, this is not the life I want to lead. But I still bought the book.
I bought the book and I did read it as well. So reminder to read it.
Reminder to,
Megan.
and reading is so good.
Oh, cerebral.
Fundamental.
Cerebral.
Cerebral.
Yeah.
Procedural.
All right, Megan, talk to us. Take us to your corner.
Yeah, my little corner of the horny space, a little different, not very cerebral. We're coming up on Halloween. Men are putting masks on their faces and then moaning into video cameras, and
And that's good.
that's good. It's coming up on my timeline. I'm liking it.
Wait,
Yeah.
who's doing that?
Oh, you'll see, sweetie pie.
Oh, no.
You'll see. I will be showing you. I have one to show you guys today, but it's not the most popular one, which Brittany Broski's a big fan of, and I'm a fan of her, so therefore I know about. It's apparently this Call of Duty cosplayer called Ghost, and he has a British accent, and he's like, "Come with me for safety," like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
The
that's
accent
pretty
does
good.
help.
Yeah,
it's gonna be.
But then
good.
they also like will make like little edits to like Slipknot songs and things like that I really enjoy. And it's I think I might have already sent you guys one, but that's really good. Also, I've been listening to the band the Deftones, which is an American alternative metal band. Looked that up on Wikipedia before this, and they have a lot of moaning and like sighing in their songs, like in between all the metal riffs. So I
Nice.
really like that. Third of all, I watched 2 minutes of The Golden Bachelor while I was at the gym.
I actually think we need a whole episode on The Golden Bachelor.
We
'cause
should
I've
dive
now
deep.
watched both episodes twice.
Oh, really?
And this is
I've gotta watch it. I
This
haven't
is
seen it
incredibly
yet.
important. What's
Okay.
happening? There's a revolution amongst us.
Yeah, what I noticed just from the 2 minutes is how earnest he is and how earnest everyone is.
It's
like,
incredible.
Yeah, it's definitely not like the hot silver fox daddy that you want it to show to be. It's more just so loving and
I've cried
yes, I
multiple
started
times in
crying.
both episodes.
Yeah.
It's
It's
so good.
Yeah, if you watch that show thinking you're gonna get horny,
But it's also like it is horny in this way that's like very authentic of like these older women are like I am like they must be supplying just tubs of lube to these to these postmenopausal women because that shit is dry as a bone. And they just got craft service, there's a pump. They're loading it up.
I'd hope so. I want them to be.
It's like they
At
are
craft
all
services. That's the worst place to
at
have a tub of
Crafty.
lube. It's like hot dogs for lunch. It's like, what's this clear ketchup? It was delicious.
But I love that, and yes, you're right.
Yeah, so those are all the things.
It's a different kind of horny.
Yeah. So things are going great for me.
Now, I am curious about this Julian Sands.
Yeah, so I put that in there. I wasn't trying to talk about it because I watched the I forget what network, but it was a miniseries that came out in 2002 based off a Stephen King novel called Rose Red. It's a 3-part miniseries horror, and Julian Sands plays this like psychic British man. I don't know if you guys know Julian Sands. He's got a very memorable face. Like I was like, where have I seen him before? And then I looked up his IMDb. What would Caroline know? Do you know? I can't.
I don't know.
You've never seen A Room with.
I don't even think I've seen.
We need to see. Oh, it's him and Helena Bonham Carter. Like it's a period piece.
Yes.
Okay.
I actually saw a clip of that on TikTok.
It's he had unfortunately a very tragic death recently.
Come on, you guys got to start with him being
trigger
dead.
Warning, kissing, and Julian Sands is dead.
I need to know because
so
that's changing how I think about him.
When I googled him, that's the first thing that came up.
Yeah, and he's incredible. He is like a romantic in his entire. He is like. So he's just everything you want. He's like horny, but also very like
British.
Composed.
He's got that really. It's what do you call that? It's a posh accent, kind of.
Yeah.
The Queen's English.
Yeah, the Queen's English.
Yeah.
People say I have that.
Oh yeah, I was
People
gonna
are always
say
saying that I have Queen's
you seem
English.
so Queen's English.
You're so Queen's English.
Thank
and
you.
Also leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Julian Sands in this mini series has like dyed blonde hair. I don't know if that's his natural color, but it got me thinking about how that is something like really primal in me, like this blonde thing, and I hate it and I don't stand by it like intellectually.
But that's the West Coast in you.
I think so.
Oh,
Because I see like a like it's either him in Rose Red or Matthew Lillard in SLC Punk, who's like dyed blonde, and really like that.
Like specifically the bleached blonde.
What be it
Yeah,
natural or
Me too.
bleached? Like my head will turn.
I don't
like, if I'm
like a
walking down the
natural
street.
blonde. Like I'm not like a. I like a.
So you don't like me, basically. I'm so natural blonde.
I don't like that.
I don't like
My
when I
blonde
see
is
that.
so
I think
natural.
Yeah, she's so natural blonde,
It's
and
so
me
natural.
too. Actually, I'm very natural.
It's so
blonde.
crazy how natural it is.
Big natural blondes. That's the two of us.
Big naturals.
Big naturals, and but the dye like that.
Yeah.
like
Like the white.
where it really is like skater.
It's the
adjacent,
skater, I
and
think.
it's like, well, I was raised in Southern California. I can't help
And if
it.
they what I like is if they have like a bleached head or hair. I have the head, whatever.
Yeah.
And the beard, like a dark beard.
Oh,
or like stubble. It's kind
Stubble.
of like then you're
Stubble.
like, okay, you're
Yeah.
kind of
Like he's different.
bought a
Yeah.
box of dye and you're doing maybe you have arts and crafts.
yeah,
made a
I've tried
choice.
to get my boyfriend to dye his. He
Oh,
once.
That would be awesome.
Would
He
he
went-
ever do it?
He once before I knew him, he was like having a. It was like not a good time. He was like, in this like, we'd all try things out, and he did dye his hair. This is like 8 years ago now, maybe or something. And I was like, what if you did that again? He was like, no, that's like a different period of my life. Like,
You're
no,
like, come on.
Like, for me. Yeah.
For me. There's something about that gets me. So yeah, Julian Sands is on my list.
Gotta look him up.
Yeah, you gotta look him up.
Dead.
Just
Just write it down so I'm
so
not surprised.
sad. He was on a hike and disappeared.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
It's tragic.
in January.
Wait, of this year?
I think so.
In the Angeles National Forest.
Why
Yeah.
do you guys bring this stuff up?
Because horny is
Hey, Caroline?
sometimes
Horny is a part of life. Pain is a part of life.
I will say this
Death is a part of life.
about death horny. This is the different things. We don't have to go into
That
this.
needs to be another episode too.
Well,
'cause I'm
almost
obsessed with
every
that.
funeral I've been to,
Yeah, you get horny.
I like think about somebody I'm fucking, which is like there's got to be something bad there. But I just remember like going to my aunt's funeral and I was just like thinking about this guy who I was like dating in college.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's when I was like, I think I have a problem.
There's again though, I think from an intellectual, spiritual component of this is that like being around death when someone leaves their body, there's something to like your natural instinct being like, I need to feel like my body like needs to feel something.
Yeah, I think that might be primal because
Yeah,
there's only a
it's
couple
primal.
things built in.
Yeah.
Birth, death,
Fucking.
Yeah, like
it's all.
it feels animal brain where like you're just like, yeah, I actually have to connect it this way now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Just
alive.
look me up and down. Maggie goes, yeah. Is literally what she just did to me.
She was assessing your readiness.
Would you really fuck at a funeral?
My animal brain is firing right now.
Sorry, you see these big naturals?
I'm seeing a whole
These
lot
are
of
fake,
natural.
by the way.
I'm seeing a whole lot of natural, and I like it.
Yeah.
All right, that was Horny Corner.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts?
No.
All right, when we come back, we are going to get into kissing and other stuff.
It's time.
Sucking on my titties like you wanted me, calling me all the time like Blondie. Check out my Chrissy behind it.
And welcome back to Softcore. This is the part of the podcast that we're going to be discussing the stages of romance, maybe how they've changed since we were younger. You hear a lot of people online talking about the talking stage, and I especially hear online people saying like, well, we're just Snapchatting, which obviously is nothing we're going to be going through right now. But I want to know.
I can't even begin to. I think we can understand like the Instagram equivalent.
Sure, like
DMs?
this guy DMs me a lot.
But it's
Yeah.
not.
It's not.
It's not the same, I
No.
don't think.
I-
Because also
yeah.
the crazy thing about Snapchat is that I remember when I was young, like 20s, early 20s, Snapchat was like huge. People were
Is it
Snapchatting
back
all the time.
again?
That's what I'm saying. It's like now so big.
It never left for the youths, I think.
Okay, so it doesn't age with people. It sort of gets you at an age group,
We
and
might
it-
have to wait and see.
we get older, but Snapchat stays the
same
same
age.
age.
Ew, gross.
But
yucky.
I like that.
Yeah.
So the stages, yeah.
Yeah. What comes first? And how do we categorize like different relationships we're having? Like obviously crushes is really where it begins. I don't think you can go forward without feeling the feelings of a crush.
Yes, but I think there's two different kinds of crushes. I think one is like a spontaneous crush,
Yes.
one that you have on someone where like, you see them doing something
like
that they're
cutting,
good at.
chopping wood.
For example, like a guy on TikTok chopping
Chopping
wood after
wood
he
and
takes his belt
grunting.
off and grunting.
Yeah.
Just for example. And then, or they're just hot or whatever. Like, but any spontaneous crush. Or I do think another one is, and this is maybe toxic, but if someone's like, especially this feels like school vibes where someone's like, oh, so-and-so like thinks you're cute.
Oh,
and then
obsessed.
once the seed is planted, then you're like, oh my God, could I marry them? You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you also have that? I think this might be universal, where you get the inkling that someone has a crush on you, and then you have to ask yourself, am I gonna reciprocate?
Yeah.
Even if
Yeah.
you never would have thought before, you do have to question. I
Yeah,
think that's
because
power.
I am into people being into me.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Ultimately.
That was an Esther Perel quote I almost wrote down today that somebody repeated on TikTok about how like women's desire is inherently narcissistic or something like that. We'll have to fact check that. But yeah, like if someone it makes you into someone, seeing them be into you.
Yeah. I think I saw the same thing.
Okay, yeah.
But so this is another interesting thing. This is kind of a thing off of that, but I feel like I'm sure this is not true, but I would say 90% of the time, if someone like asks me out or shows interest, I like will say yes to it.
yeah.
Even if I'm like
Yeah, same.
objectively, I'm like, I could never see this happening.
Right.
I still say yes.
Yeah.
And that's never changed actually. Like I've never gone on a date with someone where I was like, I would never date this person. And then at the end of the date be like, actually I will. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But I
but you at
still will
least give it
say
a
yes
shot.
to it. Yeah.
I know.
I think it's crazy how just knowing that doesn't give me the confidence to just ask out people on a whim. Like the logical
Yeah.
equivalent is like knowing that I will say yes to anyone who is interested in me. Like I've said yes to crazy things
Yeah.
before. So why am I not propositioning?
the amount of people that have asked, where sometimes I'm like, what vibe am I giving out?
Yeah.
Where,
Yeah.
because I will say, I'll often say, this was more like younger 20s, especially, of like, I think I really didn't understand how to disappoint someone
Yeah.
and like say no in
yeah.
that way. But it got me into some areas where I'm like, really? This?
Yeah.
This can't be the only person who wants to date me.
Yeah.
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 I
And I dated them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did too.
I'm having
Yeah.
a lot of flashbacks right now.
I
too,
would
but
also
yeah.
do a really bad thing a couple times, and this is bad, but again, it's like, you grow up and you mature. We're like, sorry, I just burped into the microphone. You grow up and you mature and you burp into the microphone, so kind of stuff like that. Where people would, and this is not happening all the time. I also want to say, like, did not date at all in high school or college, really. This is more
So you're
kinda-
making up for it in your
I'm
30s.
I am. Well, this is more like 20s, early to mid 20s. There were instances where people would ask me, or like after we'd been maybe going out a little bit, there was several times where people would like ask me to be their girlfriend or ask me to do whatever, and my way of dealing with it was just not responding. ever.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a bad.
Yeah.
I'm kind of making up for that
Yeah.
in many ways these days.
Fight, flight, or freeze, kind of.
Yeah, and mine was
know.
just like delete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretend it doesn't. It's not
Yeah,
happening.
that was bad.
I would like. I think I attracted a lot of like also insecure men who like were uber nerdy, and so like I would just keep pushing it down the road of like
Yes.
like people wanting to go to comic book things with me and things like that. You
So
know?
specific.
Yeah.
What's another thing like a comic book thing? Things like that.
Comic book things, you know? It's like
Steampunk stores.
steampunk stores. Yeah.
Dice
Podcast
shops.
recordings.
Yeah.
You know? Like that sort of thing where it's like I kind of want to just like people who honestly have no skill in flirting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I was pulling in
Yeah.
for a little while there.
Yeah.
But, you know,
I want to see this acted out. I would need
on
to
an
kinda
emotional
I do
level,
too.
on a sexual level, I was fucking people who are not good people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you get to that? Like, so you start with the
Yeah.
crush.
Yeah.
And
But-
then what's the next step?
Great question. I'd love to know how to get a crush to the next step. If anyone has
Well,
the answers
I
there.
do think I don't use Snapchat really anymore, but I do think Instagram is a good way
Yes,
to
I
like
agree.
suss it out.
That's
like,
my only dating app right now.
Yeah, but it is good, and like that's what people are saying. That's what like young kids are saying online because I love young kids. They're like keep that in. They're because it's a good way to like just see if someone is at least reciprocating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if they're engaging in a conversation back or like
Yeah.
responding to your stories or
Yeah.
whatever.
Totally. I do see a lot of chatter on TikTok about like posting something specifically for a crush.
Oh, yeah.
Which of course you got to do.
That's
Yeah.
like the only time I'm ever posting when I like have manic periods of just like posting stories. I'm like just like I need this specific person to see
Yeah.
it, and it's like I don't use Instagram for like 3 months, and then like one night I'll have like 25 stories,
And you're topless in half of them.
I just like one's like my tit.
Yeah. And you're just like looking directly into camera, like,
Are you sad that you dumped me?
yeah.
I'm normal.
I do think I asked people out on Instagram.
Ooh. You think you have?
I definitely did.
I have two, and I've gotten asked out once.
Yeah.
I've definitely gotten asked out.
I definitely
on
would.
Instagram.
I think I got to a point where it was like I actually, unless the crush is like deep and I already have fear of rejection, you know, I will throw out an ask out for
Yeah.
I've DM'd,
date,
I've
yeah.
DM'd minor celebrities.
Oh, that's different. That's demonstrably
To
different.
me, that feels actually normal. That feels attainable. Like when I say minor celebrities, I mean like people who are pretty popular, but like the guy who's on the Glee project that I think is really hot. And
Megan,
crazy
Megan,
information.
that's different. I was DMing people I knew.
This is
I
crazy.
could know him. I could
you
know him.
could know him, sure.
I love this. Wait, so then when you DM these people, has it ever resulted in a date?
No, no, and no, but it's a good practice.
Yeah.
I think.
Like,
And
what do you say? What do you say to them?
So there's I think this is after like watching this guy's story, liking them a lot, being like hot, and replying back to things and being like nice, and not ever getting a response. And then I'm like, I don't think he's saying this anyway, so I might as well. And I'm like,
Megan, this is
that's normal.
that I think it actually
Unexpected.
it's unexpected. It's
Yeah.
not that it's abnormal. It's that one, it's not what we were talking about.
That's
It's
the thing,
different.
actually. And I'm trying to say, no, that's the same.
And you're trying to say it's the same, and I think we're just calling out. It's a call in. We're calling
I
you.
was calling out. I was
Okay.
calling her
The
out.
call's coming from inside
Sometimes
the
you have to
house.
call out in order to call
Oh,
in.
that's actually so true.
I know.
Exactly. Why do I think that's the same? Am I delusional thinking that I could pull a celebrity and that's
No.
why?
No.
Yeah.
No, that's not the delusional part. It's the method.
Yeah, the method is very
Knowing that
funny.
he hasn't seen any of the
Yeah.
texts and me just being like, let me go for it. And I think I was just like, hey, I'm flirting with you. If you can't tell, I'll get it out.
Yeah, you need
I-
to read this verbatim.
That's incredible. I definitely I know that some people especially some of the sort of hot friends will get like,
We're sitting right here, Maggie. Oh my God, this is crazy.
Come on.
and you guys are my hot friends. I want to
I
be
know.
clear about that.
I'm always
but some
in my
people who are
bikini.
like famously Instagram hot will get like
Again.
straight up asked out
Yeah.
just on that. That's not a life I know about.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what people on TikTok are talking about, where they're like, because everybody on TikTok's like, oh, you got to find, like, you should be looking for people on Instagram and like DMing them and whatever. And I'm like, I feel like that only works for people who have hot Instagrams, because mine are all like, my farts smell awesome.
And I will say, Caroline, your Instagram name is Cotter Poop. So there is sort of a structural, it's a
Colin
structural foundational issue that would need to shift in order.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I have two things to say.
That's
One, I deleted the message I sent him, messing him out, so we can't. I unsent it, which you can do on Instagram. So right now our DMs are to me just saying like, "Cutie, keep it. Why not?" I must have said, "Wait, we have so much in common, heart."
Megan!
I was just trying something.
This is
gotta
the
keep
I was
doing
just
that.
this is
something.
that
Yeah.
meme. The Delulu is the Salulu.
It is
The Delulu is the Salulu. Follow the delusion.
Yes, I was practicing. I think I was practicing flirting. I was testing something out, just kind of seeing what would happen. Second thing I want to say is about Instagrams not being sexy. I've had that thought before because I hear my hot friends, the people aka who post ass on Maine, talk about how they get ass.
And I want to be clear. I've posted ass on Maine.
Yeah, but it's not in a sexual way. I posted ass on Maine too, and it's nothing could be further from the distance.
But do you ever think about experimenting with being horny on Maine? Because I've
done it a few times
to.
and it's very fun in a way, but I don't have it consistently, that urge.
Right, like, do I want to make my brand that way simply because I want to get asked out on Instagram more? Maybe. Like, would I be willing to be horny on
Maybe
Maine
if you're kind of sending these kind of DMs, it might
then
be.
I'm going down that track.
I will say I have these moments where I'll just get like hit with like the deep need to like claim my own sexuality and my body and like be sexy for myself, and I'll put up a fucking horny picture. But it's like these like it'll be like an hour where I'm like, I want to claim myself. But it's not sustained. Like I'm not feeling the need to do that all the time.
Yeah. It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle because you have to be the people I'm pulling in the, not in the DMs that are like in the other inbox are some real freaks.
So mine are all like 60-year-old men who are just like, haha, Caroline, very funny. You know what I mean? And it's always just like, okay. And it's always the same kind of people. That's the problem with Instagram, though, is like in posting horny pictures is you can't, what's the metaphor I want to make? You can't be like target specifically people. You know what I mean?
You're
Like
gonna
it's
get the
kind of
freaks.
it's a wide net.
Yeah. And
So-
the people I want to like watch my stories or whatever, they're not watching.
And they never do. They don't even know I freaking exist.
Yeah.
Ugh. I have a friend who met her boyfriend online from being hot online.
Yeah.
So what do I got to do?
You got to be hot online.
More. Because I already am.
You are pretty hot online.
You have a hot page.
I also think that I really think that you need to just keep doing that thing where you ask out these people.
Yes,
yeah,
I
It's
agree.
going to work.
And then I think
That
you
was
need to make a
practice.
short where you like put together all your different like
Yeah.
where we can go through all of that.
Yes.
What did you, who should I ask out?
You're
online?
really
'Cause we
good-
need minor celebrity.
Yeah, you're good at finding minor celebrities
I
because
am,
I feel
actually.
like
I'll
you
find
also because you work in like the podcast space. I feel like you can find hot like podcast guys, and they are I think a good level where it's like a little bit, but
Yeah.
you know
The problem with these guys though is that they think they deserve Taylor Swift.
well, that's that's literally
That's
every
every
man
guy.
Yeah.
everywhere. So like, who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah. Okay. I'll report back if I find
you.
a new object of my affection.
Yeah. I do think that's the step you have to take it off, whether it's through dating, like getting offline and into real life is the step. Like,
And like on apps, if you're meeting people on there, like I hate talking to people on there. I'll
Yeah.
try to like meet as soon as possible.
Definitely,
But then if we only have like one exchange and someone wants to meet, I'm like, oh, you're a freak. So,
Yeah.
like a little bit of a back and forth.
yeah.
Yeah, because it could go wrong either
It's
way.
really sensed. It's like you can't intellect. It has to be felt of like you just feel. It's timing of like, are you on the apps at the same time where your messages are like pinging? You need the ping, and then it's like you don't want to ping too much before you jump because then it's like, oh, what if this is so
Yeah.
different than in person that that the in person is like flat.
Yeah, you don't want to build up.
No, you want to
your
be building.
Oh,
You want to be building so you can let.
Ooh.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Build it all up
letting
to let it
season.
loose.
Isn't letting what like cows do with their milk?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're trying to get milk.
Yeah, our pussy cows.
Gross. I want to put on record that's not a fantasy of mine. Just if
Pussy
anyone's
milking.
yeah, any sort of milking.
The milking does have to stop on like that is moving into the space of like
of kink.
of
Breeders.
kinks
Yeah.
and breeding and milking is disturbed.
Yeah. When you say breeding, they're genuine. Like I want to make a baby.
Well, usually what I've seen is people who are like, I think that's what they want. That's like the specific kink, but I don't know if they actually want a baby. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like
it's the control thing.
Yeah, it's
they
kinda
say it
stay
on the.
with that.
Is that on the apps now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Breeding.
Well, it's on the freak apps.
which isn't so much of a freak app anymore.
I know. Tell me about it.
Oh, we're talking about field.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Love that. Though, writing that down, tabling that down. I wanted to draw out a specific fantasy regarding crushes. I think
Okay.
what I'm looking for right now, and maybe we'll find this in my next minor celebrity to DM,
Mm-hmm.
is I want that feeling with the crush where you've like, you know them, you've met them, so you don't have an inflated sense of who they are. Maybe you kind of do. I feel like a lot of times if I have a crush who I've only known on the internet, I can invent a personality and then I'm just falling in love with myself
Yeah.
when I think about
Yeah.
them. I'm looking for like kind of in high school, like the guy you know, Fox Mulder fan fiction where you're sitting in class with
Yeah.
this person, you see them a lot,
Yeah.
you kind of know their vibe. Do they raise their hand a lot in class? Do they not? Like, are they quiet? Are they loud? Are they smart?
Yeah.
Are they dumb? You know kind of their vibe, and then you start hanging out with them more, and then you are texting and you can't stop thinking about them, and I'm
I
basically
know.
writing a romance novel right now, but
Yeah.
you know, like that's
like
what
a
I'm looking
classic
for.
crush.
A
Totally.
classic crush.
It's really that's the dream.
I haven't had a classic crush in a while. I feel like it's because the digital age, I'm having
It's true.
digital crushes
Yeah.
that are
But
different.
I'll tell you this, from the other side of that is I recently had a classic crush and then it didn't work out, and then it's like, oh yeah, then you feel awful. Like in like high school or wherever when like a classic crush didn't work out.
Broke
and then
me.
it's like all consuming in the
same
other
way.
way.
yeah, I actually
Yeah.
don't think I've healed from a couple of those. 20
And I
years
don't know
ago
if you
or
ever
however.
do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just so
Because also
whatever.
part of a crush is like unknown and potential rather than like reality.
Hope.
It's yes, it's fantasy, but it's hope and like in a real way of like if you're on a certain vibe with someone, like there is sort of this track you get on. And so if that track is cut short or one person pulls out or you pull like whatever, it's like fuck.
Heartbreaking.
We saw it. Like I saw the whole story. I
could've
saw
gone
the
all the
whole
way,
thing.
But
Yeah.
that's interesting because I feel like that kind of segues into the next part of
Yeah.
dating. It's like because you are actually going on dates
Yeah.
or whatever with this
Yeah.
person. And then I feel like that's the thing where it's like either it can kind of go in like a couple tracks. Like one track, it just like is dead and there. Like you just do one, you're like, this is not it. The second one is kind of like, then the second path, it's like, okay, then we're either going to be like hooking up and it's just that.
Yeah.
Or it's like kind of more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've never had a thing where, or this is just me, I'm like, I've never had a thing where it started as like a hookup thing that's like turned into something else.
Yeah, same.
Like I feel like from, like I'll maybe have wanted that, but it never happens. I feel like the people that I actually get into relationships with are people where it's like from the beginning you kind of have that
Yeah, feeling.
like, feeling. Yeah.
You sense like, oh, this isn't that. This is this other thing.
Yeah.
And this other thing is like really scary and kind of takes two people being like, all right, are we going to show up for this thing? Are we going to honor what this is? Because like we're not that other thing. And that's okay. And I think sometimes some people can't like show up for that thing
Yeah.
because it is like the scarier thing. It's like the real crush, the real love, the whatever. And it doesn't have to be so insane of like, I'm crazy and in love with you
Yeah.
already. It's just like, no, this is just like, there is potential and likelihood that there's going to be real hurt here, not just like, oh, I can't get my nut off tonight. You know what I mean?
Oh, I can't get my nut off.
Oh, and you guys know how I am when I can't get my nut off.
Damn it.
Sorry, I can't come out tonight. I haven't gotten my nut off yet.
Yeah.
And then once I get one nut off, I have to get the other one.
Nut begets nut.
And that's in the Bible too, actually.
That is nut begets more nut.
That is so, that's a good
He
passage.
said unto Jesus on the mound.
I should read that.
That's a really good
Is that it?
passage.
Jesus on the mound?
Yeah.
Yeah.
my
Jesus
mouth.
on that mat, yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Phases of relationships, crushes. I want a crush reciprocated is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
That magic moment, because that's when everything is fine.
Yeah.
When you're like, he likes me back.
Yeah.
It's confirmed.
Yeah.
You know.
That's really fun. It is like the
Yeah.
most fun feeling.
Yeah, because from there, you know, lots of things can go wrong, things can go right, but it's a different type of feeling. And
Yeah.
it's so pure, a crush reciprocated.
And like,
Love that.
I'll be honest, I'm having crushes all the time.
Sure.
In the world, I think crushes are. There's just an Atlantic article written about the importance of a crush in your psychology. It put again like desire. It like points you in a direction of things you want,
I've been
things you
saying
like,
this.
and like that. It doesn't have to comment on like the health or sanctity unless it does of your relationship. But it's like, oh, I'm learning something about myself through this crush. Like I'll bring it back to my relationship and see like, is this like what's this?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I feel like there's nothing better when that is felt back towards you.
Yeah. And you do learn something about yourself when you have a crush, because oftentimes it isn't who you think you're going to crush.
No,
Like I was
yeah.
talking earlier about how the bleach blonde guys make my head turn.
Yeah.
My head's turned, but it doesn't necessarily make for a good, interesting crush. But then when I develop a crush on someone who's just been hanging around in my life for whatever reason, and I'm like, I can't believe it's this guy, but
Yeah.
it's this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really have control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I learned about myself. I'm like, I guess I'm really attracted to insert whatever
Yeah.
thing this guy
Yeah.
has. Yeah.
And sometimes it's not like I'm attracted to that thing anywhere it shows up in the world. Sometimes it's like the container it comes in.
it looks good on you.
It looks you hold that thing well,
Yeah.
and I have never been attracted to that thing before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'll say this. I was
Go
just
off.
having this conversation last night. A divisive sexual figure, but Noel Fielding,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
For sure. Been there.
someone who
Yeah.
my friend was hard anti. She's like, he looks like Mugatu. I think the people who are attracted, and once she said Mugatu, you kind of can't unsee it. But he is a type of person who I'm not attracted to, but the way he holds himself, I'm like, there's sex appeal there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's sex appeal.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure there's whole Reddit pages on that guy's
And there's
sex appeal.
fanfic.
Yeah. Like,
You
I
gotta
think
know.
A lot of
Yeah.
women feel that from him.
Yes,
Yeah.
women and men, I think.
Right. Because they're like, I shouldn't.
Yeah,
but it
he's
feels
sort
so
of,
right.
yeah.
I think there's maybe some. Yeah.
Actually, I think he went down with Russell Brand.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Okay, that was our discussion on crushes, the talking stage, Snapchatting, whatever that is. More to discuss on that. But we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about kind of more intense, horny stuff.
I wanna come faster. I wanna last longer. I wanna ride.
Okay, welcome back. Diet Coke's awesome, and yep, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. We are Diet Coke girls. We're gonna get into the meat of it, the thick of it, the thing, the doorway to it all, and that's kissing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what leads from there, and what do we even call it?
Yeah. What are bases?
What are kids these days calling
Okay,
first base?
were you guys told the 3 F's?
No.
I think so.
4 F's as the bases?
Can I guess?
Yeah, I guess.
Because I wasn't. 4 bases.
Yeah, so
Okay. First
first,
one
second,
is,
third home.
Okay. Flirting.
Ooh, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah.
Fingering.
Go straight to fingering.
Fisting. And fucking.
And that's right, fisting is
know
third
me,
base.
know me, know
Fisting is pre-fucking, for sure.
I can't think of more.
Yeah, hard to
Yeah.
think of that first one because you want to say fingering. Okay, flirting. I agree, flirting,
you.
and then I think fiddling. Fiddling with
Fiddling, getting a little
things.
handsy.
You
Yeah,
little
sure.
hands. Yeah, fiddler, a little fiddler on the roof.
Yeah, huddle.
Yeah,
and if I was a rich man.
Yeah. Fiddler on the Roof is about this horny man who's just always
horny old man with 100 daughters.
And every time he honks a pair of tits, a violin plays. Go figure.
Go freaking figure in this world.
Movies used to be a little bit different back in the day.
And Fiddler was first and foremost a movie, for sure.
Was it? I thought it was a movie first.
It became a movie, I think, after the
Yeah,
musical.
it's a Broadway show.
I know it's a Broadway show, bitch.
doesn't-
I'm just saying. I thought it was one of those things at
I will
first, like the
flip this table.
producers, like the producers.
Well, no one knows, and there's no way to find out.
Hey, Caroline.
that is
Hey,
sad.
Caroline.
I don't like that. Maggie did the look up and
No.
she licked her tooth. I don't like it. She licked her tooth.
I don't know.
Flirting?
Flirting,
Fiddling.
fiddling, fingering, fucking.
Okay.
What do you
You're
think?
both wrong. First base, French. French.
I forgot.
Oh, French.
Frenchies.
Second base, feel.
Copperfield.
Honk,
Honk,
honk.
yeah.
Third base, French, feel, finger,
Okay.
fuck.
And when
Okay.
they say finger, they mean you putting your finger in his
Urethra.
butthole. Yeah.
In penis urethra.
Penis urethra.
It is interesting because the bases kind of go between.
I think
different...
fingering also as like if there's a penis, it's a hand job.
True.
If
Yeah, below the
if
belt.
there's you're you're putting your hands below the belt.
You're
That's how I
involving
saw it,
the
too.
genitals.
The
Yeah.
Jennies are
The Jennies are
playing a role.
at the table.
Are there?
Yeah.
You've
Jenny on the
given the
block.
Jennies a seat at the table.
Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got.
No.
I'm still Jenny from
Jenny's.
the block.
Yeah.
Jenny's. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I definitely was told it was first base is kissing, second base is above the belt,
Yeah.
touching, third base below the belt, fourth home run.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
grand slam.
Yeah.
Which is just so interesting because I feel like, well, first of all, it's a psychotic concept.
Yes.
But second of all, if we really are doing the base system, it's so crazy to go from fingers, hands to just fucking. Like to
Yeah.
leave all the oral out, if
The
I may.
oral
I
of
feel like
it
that's
is
a big.
Yeah.
Also, it's so like. Obviously, this is this podcast, but it's just like so like heteronormative, like
Yes.
penetrative, like sex is like
Yes.
that's like the only thing that sex is, and that's like insane.
and like
misogynistic.
oral is
Yeah.
the most important part.
Yeah.
I think a lot of
And
times.
that is sex for a lot of people.
Yes.
That is that is
It is sex.
Yeah.
Fingering is sex and
Fingering
stuff, and
is
other
sex.
stuff,
It's all
like
sex.
yeah.
It's all
How do we
sex.
even define sex?
Yeah.
But that's like a good question too. Like if I walked up to you and I
okay.
said I had sex last night, you're probably assuming I mean penetration, but like
Okay, my therapist,
Go off.
she has defined sex really well. Sex is an energy you step into. It is a flowing river that you step in. Sex can be just laying on a couch and entering into that energy in like a different way. Like it is just an energy you are a part of that you and someone or you with yourself step into and out of. So it's like that there are millions of acts you can do, obviously, and we'll be
Millions.
performing a lot of them here on this podcast.
Today, before the end of this podcast.
Before the end of this podcast, we're going to be performing so many sexual
At
acts.
least half of the million sex acts.
that's my performance art. Actually.
yeah. But it is like, I also think like what we weren't raised. I heard the 4 F's definitely in high school. That was like when I heard it. And that was a time like I was going down on people, but they weren't going down on me.
Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't-
In high school?
Senior year, I did
In,
one.
That's
in high school, you
cool.
were going down on people. They were down. Oh yeah, I absolutely. There's a long span of time between me going down on someone and
Yeah,
and someone going down on me.
like that was
Many
not
years.
assumed reciprocated in a way
Absolutely.
that I remember. Like, I kind of remember one of my older brother's friends saying to a guy who was my age, "If you're not eating box, like you have to be eating pussy." And I was like, "That's cool,"
That sounds like
and
a
I
t-shirt.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, get out if you're not eating box, get out of my kitchen.
Yeah.
You know?
Eating box sounds.
It's
Rockin'.
it's so
Yeah.
dude to say that too.
dude.
But I was just like, yeah, why wouldn't I expect someone to? And now obviously that's all very. I feel like it changed when I was like in my young 20s where I was like, oh yeah, that's happening. It's all a lot like the same now, reciprocal, but
Yeah.
it wasn't for so long. I wasn't raised in a reciprocal sexual culture.
And to think about it as reciprocating an act for an act, but is one thing. I didn't even consider that. I just didn't even know it was on the table for me to someone to go down on me. Like that took learning and growth to realize not only what is that one normal and good, to like something that should be considered equal to what I'm doing to these men.
Yes. And like, is it normal? And then like getting comfortable with it when it's happened. Like for so long, I was also uncomfortable with someone just paying attention to my pleasure. Like I was like, no, it has to be about you. Like it's about your and it's like, now I very much enjoy.
And the body.
I enjoy.
I'm enjoying that kind of thing a lot of times. I don't know what it is, but I do really enjoy it when someone has chosen to do that to me. When they choose to do that to me,
So
that's
unique.
pretty cool.
That's really unique and nice.
Yeah.
I've never heard that perspective.
Yeah,
Here
no,
on NPR.
and I would love to talk to Ira Glass about men going down on me.
Maggie.
Maggie.
I feel like my world was rocked when I realized it was an option, and then now in womanhood, realizing it's not only an option, it should be demanded,
Yes.
and kind of maybe
Expected.
even my first line of what are we doing? Well, obviously that first. Like
I do feel like that's a good sign of, it tells you a lot about the person that you're going to be hooking up with. You know what I mean? Like if they kind of like immediately kind of go for that, it's like nice.
And also,
know?
it's like not necessarily some people like, because I think for some people, mouth is not like. What it is that they care about your pleasure and orgasm and experience as much as, if not more, than their own.
Knowing that turns them on too.
Knowing that, like caring for your pleasure in a way that's like all encompassing is the hottest thing anyone could ever do.
Yeah, I like the audio erotica where the man is like wants it so bad, and he goes, "I've been wondering like what your pussy looks like." Like he's been dreaming of it.
Yeah.
And
I
he
want you to
finally
be
sees it,
dreaming
he's
about
like,
it.
I love it so
I'd
much.
like you to be,
Yeah.
hey Caroline, I want you to be dreaming about it.
I want to call 911.
It's
Right
good.
now is what I want
It's
to
good
do. I
we're in
wanna call
different positions
911.
today because
I thought you were gonna say pet control.
I
Pest
have
Yeah, I need to call
have
pet
to call
control.
animal services.
because there's a dog on the other.
She's claimed multiple times she's dreaming.
Okay.
Quote dreaming.
Speaking of eating box, how does it all begin usually? Is when the mouth touches another mouth.
That's mouth on
Oh,
mouth.
A mouth
come
on
on.
mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Kissing.
Yeah, if you're calling going down someone eating box, what are you calling kissing?
Eating.
Eating
slamming-
face, sucking face,
Yeah, sucking face.
Sucking face.
sucking face.
Okay, that reminds me. Have you noticed, and I've seen the girlies on TikTok talk about this, there's one woman I'll put in the notes, or one person that spoke about how men are not okay with closed mouth kissing. Can they get behind closed mouth kissing? Because in her experience, a lot of these men want to put their tongue straight in your mouth. What is that? Is that fear or is that an experience?
I think it's a go.
Speak
Well,
on
this
it.
is just what I think. This is another thing which I kind of wrote down here. Is it's like what is a good kiss and how can you tell what a good kiss is?
Yeah.
And I feel like especially if I feel like the thing that a lot of people say plagues like cis straight men is like they learn everything from porn and like the porny kisses are very like
The noises.
If
the
they're even
noises and
kissing.
the tongue and if they're
Yeah.
even kissing.
Yeah.
But it is weird where it's like, how do you, like what, some people maybe like immediate tongue. Some people maybe like no tongue. It's like, how do you know? Like, I think the concept of a good kisser maybe is someone who is very good at, like seeing what the other person
That's what it
responds
is.
to
That's
and
all
stuff.
it is.
Yeah.
It's context.
Reading
it's,
the moment.
It's like it's a vibe. It's like because sometimes it's really like if it's like heated and you're like, yeah, it's actually messy is what this is meant to be. We're meant to be messy kissing now. But like really like it is like let's find our rhythm and like move at that pace.
Yeah, there's no one be-all end-all formula for a
No,
good kiss.
you just need to be a good adjustments.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is hard. It's like when you've,
And some people are not.
yeah, well, it's also
yeah.
weird where it's like sometimes encounter someone and it's like the first time, I feel like the first time it's kind of hard to tell because there's just so many other things happening. It's like exciting and it's whatever.
So
but
awesome.
then it's so freaking awesome. And I've definitely kissed before.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the second time you kiss someone, which I do all the time, is like that's when you can kind of actually get the lay of the land. And I feel like that's where there can be a lot of disappointment because it's like, oh, they're just doing the same exact thing they did last time.
Also, especially if it's like this kind.
Oh.
Yes, exactly. I know
she's
exactly
doing
what
a
you
turtle.
mean. Like the little, or like the,
Yes.
like a little
tongue coming
pointy
out.
tongue.
Pointy
like randomly.
tongue,
Yeah.
strong, no, we want to be moving
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
Let's
It's a
and
full
that's
body
where-
experience.
It's a whole body
Yeah.
experience where it's like the hands are in the hair
Yeah.
and your
The
lips
kisses are on the
lip-
neck.
Yeah,
and
whatever.
we're just moving our lips.
Sometimes the
We're moving our
hottest
lips.
thing when I'm watching even like movies is when like before they kiss or in between kissing where their mouths are so close to each other and they're just kind of like
I know what you're talking about.
it's it's like an almost breathing really weirdly into each other's mouth.
No, that is, and I think like in my experience, part of, especially like. No, I think you find it again in different points, but like especially when you're like first kissing someone, those moments when you're like almost talking through the kissing are
I
the
love that.
fucking best.
Oh yeah, like I've wanted to kiss you for so long.
yeah, and
like a laugh into a kiss
Yeah.
is fun, or like a laugh kiss. Yeah.
into a kiss on the neck, back
Yeah,
into
yeah. That's a good stuff.
I used to have this problem. I think when I was like younger, I'm like having like war flashbacks to when like you know a kiss is
well,
coming.
and you fought in the war.
the war of my puberty.
Yeah, that was war.
Which also coincided with World War II, so that was a very intense time.
Yeah, back in
Yeah.
my 50s or
Trench
60s,
warfare.
whatever.
Yeah, trench
Yeah.
war. That's World War One.
I'm aware. I got trench foot with the best of them. Okay.
That's when you went through puberty as World War One.
Yeah, War War One.
You know when you get your period, but you're on the battlefield.
Yeah,
and you,
that feeling when you're in the trench, and
the
none
blood's
of
coming
the
down.
guys have a tampon.
I have to ask my sergeant if I can get removed.
Sarge, I'm bleeding out. They get you? No,
It's my monthly.
it's my monthlies are here.
That feeling when you're trying to nut, but you realize you got your period. Shoot.
Yeah, we were all there.
This is a fun fantasy we like to go into sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened to me is I would anticipate the kisses coming. They're like there was closeness. You could just know when the kiss is kind of coming.
Yeah.
And my mouth would get so dry because I was so nervous, like because I knew it was coming. And and that's like kind of the last thing you want,
Yeah.
which I think is why it was happening because I knew like, oh, I hope my mouth doesn't get dry, and
Yeah.
then my mouth gets
Yeah.
dry. And I don't know, some for some reason, speaking of kissing right now is reminding me of that because I guess the nerves. I'm probably still nervous when I kiss someone.
I feel like I get nervous. I'm really good at the beginning.
That's crazy. That's so hard.
What do you mean?
I'm really good at like the first, like
Initiating.
early on.
starting the kiss stuff.
Start. Yeah. So, like
That's
I have
crazy.
like straight up said like, oh, I think we should kiss. Like we should.
That's
We should.
good game. I
We
feel
should
like you have
pretty
good
much
game.
be kissing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do
Love
think
that,
I
yeah.
do think I have a little bit of game. You know.
You have a
Yeah, I
lot
like
of
that.
game. And in I know. And
Hey.
this is what I want to know. It's like when usually can you like are you usually doing this like when does this happen? Because especially if you're like good at it.
Yeah.
I know I'm sure it changes whatever blah blah blah, but like is it usually like if you're feeling like the first date and you know what I mean? Like when is the vibe usually?
I've done it with like people I've known for a little and always had a crush or something. And if we find ourselves out, I think on a first date, I will like bring it up. Like I have no problem talking about it. I think like in a way that's probably like that's why a long-term relationship I've learned so much because that part was harder for me of like how do I sustain this? What does this look like in a like honest growth like reciprocal way?
in a grind set mentality.
In a grind set mentality. Where am I getting my gains? Yeah, my kiss gains.
How can I get all this protein in the
My little kiss
kisses?
gains.
Yeah.
I wish kissing could sustain me as much as food does. Like if I could have that instead of a sandwich.
But see, sometimes I do, like, sometimes this is maybe bad, but sometimes they are a little interchangeable where, like, if I know, like, especially in the beginning of, like, dating or, like, a fun hookup, like, that is kind of what's on the menu for the night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to remind myself to eat.
Yes. But if
I literally will, like, like, I remember, like, when I first started dating my boyfriend, it was just, like, we have to, like, go out and eat 2 steaks.
Yeah.
Because we won't live through the weekend
you'll
if
just
we
be
don't.
like, fucking, exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, that's, like, I can't... Yeah, they're like 2 different parts of my brain, but weirdly the same. You know what I mean? It's like men when they piss and cum. It's like when you piss, the cum part shuts off, but when you cum, the piss part shuts off.
Yeah.
So that is for me what sex.
I've never
and
heard
food
it in
is.
those terms, and it's really interesting.
A doctor told me that.
About your kissing?
About the coming and pissing.
Yep.
I've heard about the coming and pissing.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. I do agree. I think the kiss, like, I think sex is... it's an energy. It's like it can physically sustain you in ways that are weird, and there's like no definitive reason. I'm obviously not eating a sandwich, but I am eating
Ass.
Caroline's already shaking her. I am eating that right up.
I don't know. I love kissing. And it's been part of my brand for a long time too. Even though, like, don't quote me on walking the walk and talking the talk. I don't want anyone trying to count how many kisses I have, even though I'm talking about kissing so much.
Do not
I do
try and
think,
count
Don't
her
count her
kisses.
kisses.
Don't keep
Literally
holding me to a
stop.
score.
People have tried before, and we actually have gotten them into jail.
Yes.
It's illegal at this point.
We call animal services.
And they send
Yeah.
them to jail.
They're counting my kisses again.
Yes.
I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to give a disclaimer that, like, you don't ask me how much I kiss or how often. I'm not telling you, but will say I love kissing, and I made it part of my brand. I really like. I used to do a kiss chant, like, at parties. If I were to see, like, people that looked like they could maybe kiss, just try to get that going.
Yeah.
No one has to know
I
you're the
like
one that
being
started
around
it.
kissing even.
It's fun to watch. It could be like good entertainment. It's good for the
Yeah.
party, actually.
It's good for the party. Random.
I definitely post-college got games of like spin the bottle going.
Yes,
That's good. That's nice.
Body shots.
Fun.
Hey, I heard.
Fun. Let's
I heard
all
we
kiss.
gotta-
I kiss my friends.
We have to
Oh
bring
yeah,
that
we
back.
definitely did a lot of let's all kiss. In my
yeah.
I was at a this weird like DJ thing last night.
We heard.
I know, but it wasn't a rave.
Was it
was
DJ
like,
Kiss?
It was DJ Kiss. It was so awesome.
DJ Kissy
I
boy?
love DJ
Kiss
Kissy, man.
me.
Yeah.
But it was like younger people, like I want to say people in their like 20s, all very cool. And it wasn't a lot of people. It was like in this maybe gallery space, you know, like that was like the vibe.
Uh-huh.
And there were just people making out like
Awesome.
on the thing. And I was like, this is so
That's what
fun. We don't get this kind of
Oh
stuff
my God.
anymore.
And I think you kind of, there's a thing of like, as an adult, you're supposed to age out of that or whatever. But like, the older people I see that I look up to are like still engaged in the joy of that kind of an
Yeah.
experience. Like, we should, like we were talking about last week, of like making out on the streets.
Okay.
Let's hear.
I have a question for everybody.
Yeah.
What is your best kiss?
Oh,
And it doesn't have to be of all time, just what you're thinking of today.
It's sad that nothing like comes to mind because I think my best kiss is yet to come. Let's say that.
That's good.
but
Best kiss so far.
yeah.
I have a few, I think.
Oh, any shareable.
off?
Some aren't shareable, and we understand that. What's the good? Oh, okay, I have a good one. Yeah.
Okay, I have one that was really fun. One night stand. Guy I had known in high school. I was at a bachelorette party in a small ski town, and it was winter, and I ran into him. He lived there. I hadn't
That's
seen him
crazy.
since high school.
This feels like
Year
a
older than me.
porn book.
Yep.
Yes,
Loving
yes.
it so far.
Year older than me, super cute, super like nice and fun. And it was just like it's this like magical ski town. And he walked out with all of my friends, and we kind of looked at each other, and I was like, do you think we should stay out? And he's like, yeah, I think we should stay out. And then we went back in, just the two of us, and danced. And then like we finally kissed, and then it was like very joyful and fun. And then we like separated and had fun
Yeah, that's
dancing, and then
fun.
obviously had a very fun night together. But it was like, it was really sweet. and sexy and all the things.
Yeah.
You know, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is fun.
And I will say, like, the first kiss with my boyfriend was awesome.
Oh, I bet. That's
yeah.
great.
It was really good. Yeah.
Good. Okay, well, I have one that came to mind. It might not be like the best, but it's the best story, and it makes me smile. I was at a New Year's party at one of my friends' houses back in my hometown, so like lots of old friends, including one guy I still keep in touch with who I always thought was cute. I don't remember giving off any particularly flirty vibes. I also wasn't tits out that night, so it's like whatever. But somehow,
you liked your personality. Or
so yeah, you might have just like liked who I am.
Crazy.
Inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think somehow it became just us in like the vestibule, like where you take your boots off after the rain.
The mud room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the mud room, and he just approached, and he actually asked to kiss me, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
sure. The consent was given, and it was really sweet, kind of short. Someone walked in on us, and we like giggled.
I think that's the part of like someone who's known you since that age who
Yeah.
like as an adult wants to kiss you.
A little
You're
wish
like,
fulfillment.
yeah. Like I never would have thought this guy would have wanted to, like he was always like hot and whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Mine, I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I have one that was like so. Yeah, I have a couple. Usually the ones like at the beginning of the people I've dated are just like so fun and so
I
good.
think the best.
But there was one in college I remember. There's this guy I had the biggest crush on. Had a crush on him since like we were in a Facebook group together. And like in hindsight, it's one of those things where I'm like, Caroline, this man was into you, but I was like, he's too hot. He would
Right.
never be into me.
Right.
But we would like make each other mixtapes and stuff. And he was so hot. And still, every once in a while, I'll check up on him on Facebook and I go, he's still looking hot.
Yeah.
But, so whatever. I was like, it's never going to happen. He's too hot. And then, but we were friends. And then one night we were walking back from, or he happened to be at this like bar that was a popular off-campus bar in college. And that's always fun because you could like maybe see your crush or whatever. And so I saw my other friend there and he was also friends with my crush. And so then the three of us were like, let's leave, like, da-da-da-da. And I remember, like, the three of us were just, like, walking home with, like, our arms linked. And then my friend left, and then it was just, like, me and the crush.
Yeah.
And then we made out. But it was, like, one of those things where it was, like, I cannot believe this is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much so that I was, like, I made him leave. Because there was another guy that was coming over that I thought I liked. But it's like, you know what I mean? I think about this a lot in my life where like, this is a life regret I have.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
a lot had to go right for that to happen too.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, something we're maybe missing in this modern digital age. You said there was a bar off campus everybody went to. There's that third place that we don't have.
Yeah.
In Melrose Place, they go to a bar called Shooters, and that's where they meet up with everyone and find dates
Yeah.
and whatever. Like, if that bar hadn't have existed, you might not have found the opportunity to be alone with this guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Even my story, like, we were at a party. Like, how many parties with, like, hot people
I know.
are we going to?
Yeah. I'm
I
only
know.
going to parties with ugly people.
Right, I'm always invited to these Uggo parties.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Uggos only.
Uggos only. And that's why I'm going.
But it's usually
Me
like
too.
a friend. There's no sexuality involved in the parties I go
Well,
to these
especially
days.
now, like as we get older and everyone's like in a couple or like married
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
whatever, and it's always very like chill
Yeah.
things. Or it's the opposite of that, where it's like, or not the opposite of that, but if everyone's in a couple, like, and then there's like happens to be a single person,
They're forcing
and
it.
they're like, "Have you talked to this person?" And you're like, "This person is acting like a dry piece of toast.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what's gonna
Well,
happen?"
it's this thing.
Yeah.
It's this thing that happens with people in long-term relationships where they forget any sense of what the reality of sexuality and like dating is.
Yeah.
Where it's like, why are you acting like you're 85 years old and haven't fucked in decades? Like,
Yeah.
do you not get how this goes? Like, no ability to understand what it's like to relate to new people. And like, I do
Yeah.
think people who don't actively like they shut themselves off from just meeting new people by being in a relationship. And it bums me out.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks.
Speak on it.
And I spoke on it actually. Just did you hear me just talking about it?
Oh shit, I wasn't listening.
Were you
I'm
missed?
so
you
sorry.
missed it?
Yeah, I just wasn't listening.
Oh,
Is that bad?
well, that's that on kissing.
Yeah, we've kind of closed the book on kissing.
That's
Probably
that
won't
on
mention
kissing.
it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we're gonna do a quick update on some horny TikToks.
Daddy as fuck. I feel daddy as fuck. Daddy as fuck. I feel daddy as fuck. I feel daddy as fuck.
Welcome back to the final segment of Softcore. We're doing horn talk today. So that's where we're each going to present a TikTok that we find to be horny. Here we go. Megan, what do you have for us?
Today, so I mentioned at the top of the episode that since it is spooky time, that we're getting a lot of men wearing masks on TikTok, and they are acting out women's fantasies. It is good stuff. So
If your fantasy involves like Megan.
yeah. So what everyone's seeing right now is the picture is Ghostface from Scream.
Okay.
And the song is one of my favorite Slipknot songs. So, okay. We're watching it twice.
Megan. Wait. Caroline.
And this is stuff, just to be clear that we all are on the same page about what this segment is, it's stuff that we find horny.
Yeah.
Megan.
Okay. I do
Megan.
think I will die on this hill.
Well, okay,
Because
so
you know what? I know the girlies are behind me. I know there's more of us. out there.
so I just want to make sure you're sucking the guy's dick or the whoever
No,
you
he's
think that is.
fucking
face
you.
fucking me.
Oh, I thought he could be also just like fucking you.
He's definitely fucking
I
something.
think
think
he's
it's
just
a face
fucking you.
fuck.
I think
You
it's
think
a
it's a face fuck?
I think
Yeah.
you're looking up.
Yeah.
I think it's why is
Okay.
your name? is being-
The sort of the fear element of it is it's it's so much.
I've seen the best memes of like women and gay men being like that feeling when the killer's in the house, but the killer doesn't know that you actually are really into masked men, and then it's
Yeah.
like, no, don't, no.
Okay,
man.
I
I
think
like-
we
that I
need
think
to
is
get
funny.
you.
I like that.
This feels like a niche that you could easily.
You think I should do act outs of me wanting the killer?
You should. And, if you want kind of some connects to scare actors, I'm heavily involved in that
Okay,
world.
that's
so.
the other thing. I'm seeing women posting about their experiences at like Halloween Horror Nights and being like, was strangely turned on by the masked man who came up to try and scare me. That's happening.
What we just watched was
Also, he was humping to the beat of the Slipknot song
yeah,
And the lights changing.
and the lights
to
like
signify horny mode has begun.
Yeah.
if he's face fucking you with that level of thrust, honey,
he's
you're
got
gonna
a
get canker sores
Go to the
back there.
hospital.
You're gonna that's creating a lesion.
Yeah.
Would you guys, if someone wanted to have sex to metal music, would you?
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah.
all know my answer, but it's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I don't think I could fuck them when looking like that. I think I would have an existential terror moment.
Well, I think the part about the TikTok that's so interesting is that if you had me list 200 things that I thought were going to happen in that TikTok, that would not be on that
It's
list.
exactly
So
right.
the
The
surprise
POV was going to
element.
change to POV, you're on your knees.
Yeah.
I knew
yeah.
obviously that it was going to have horny in some capacity. I didn't understand that
was gonna be like that.
It was going to be like
Seeing the
that.
bottom of Ghostface's face too, you realize how long his chin is. His chinny
Yeah.
chin.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing
Megan.
that. That was so awesome.
That has opened. I feel like that was a portal into like I don't even know what. You know,
I
a different
it's-
world.
I know it's a good horny TikTok when I start giggling to myself watching it. Where I go,
Yeah.
what?
How can I be? How did this find me?
Yeah, that's so crazy.
I don't even like this kind of stuff. How did
Yeah.
it happen?
Okay, so mine, we did this once before, and when I did it, I kind of got a similar reaction to what you just got. So what I am presenting to you today is I actually think is genuinely horny. And this is sometimes you have like an instant horny reaction, and other times you have like the child brain, you know what I mean, where you don't understand that's what's happening. So this is one where like I watched it 20 times in a row.
Yeah.
And then after the 20th time I was like, oh, I think this is horny.
You're
Got
like,
it.
why do I really like this?
I just kept and then
Yeah.
going down this guy's TikTok.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so here it is. So and I have this one saved that you
Spooky
sent
guy?
me.
Yeah, I sent
No,
you
I'm
that.
not playing that. No. Okay, wait. Oh, let me make sure my sound is.
This is really an example of how we're all different, beautiful beings. Oh,
I've seen
yeah,
this. Oh,
Caroline? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're like, why? do I watch this?
Absolutely. I'm horny for him.
Yeah.
But this one's good because he's like such a good dancer.
Yeah.
And then it's like just in the also okay. I'll tell you my process for this. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know he was like the dancer from that video. So at first I was like,
I didn't know that either.
I was like. At first, I was like, this man's a bad dancer, which is a crazy take. I think I'm also bad at dancing.
That's
Sometimes
a
it's
terrible take.
I know, but then I kept watching. I was like, oh no, he's good. And then I was like, oh, the woman's recognizing him. You know what I mean? It was all levels.
Yeah.
This is kind of another one where it comes from.
He's also got the bleached hair.
Yeah.
He's a total cutie. He's good dancers are always going to be hot.
Yes. Any kind of good dancer.
There's something kind of romantic about this, the moves and the song and the people
Yeah.
too. I mean, I'm sure this is meant to be like kind of a seductive track.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to show everyone that I'm capable of thinking normal things are horny.
Yeah. I
We
believe
all
you.
have duality. Sometimes it's the masked man
Yeah.
thumping
It's the masked man thumping.
for me.
Now, I'm going to start off with something simple.
Okay, so we have multiple.
Just this picture of Jamie Dornan
That's good.
with the quote, I have 3 girls. They are 9, 7, and 4, and they are all 3 the coolest people I've ever met. And he goes on to talk about how they're obsessed with Next in Fashion and watching it. I'm like, sex plus good dad, that's going to get me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I guess this is... Mine is
Yeah,
so
yours is
fucking...
so blatantly horny. Your TikTok page is just like absolutely dripping wet.
Okay, but it's also like so specifically mine.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this guy... Like, this is just a guy who's really connected with nature, and that's hot to me. And he has that accent.
If that man spoke to me, I'd punch him in the face.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't know.
what about this guy?
Anyone who thinks I'm not a real dad because I only have a dog and no human children, well,
Like,
guess what?
See,
She was
again,
acting weird a couple months ago, so I brought her to the vet. Guess what they ended up prescribing her? Prozac. That's right, I raised this dog for 10 years, and she needs antidepressants.
okay, so
Tell me
he's a
that
dog
sounds so
owner.
real.
Yeah.
You guys get it? God,
Yes,
I'm
for me,
so
he's a-
lame.
But no,
mustache
you're not
owner.
lame. I just don't think
Here's
that man's
what
attractive.
Okay, here's what
Okay, this
I'm going
guy,
to show
yeah.
you. This is a straight male ballet dancer. Okay, where are the ones of him dancing? No, not that. God damn it. I'm bad at this game.
No, you're not.
Oh man, so what do you
He's
do
hot
for
in
a
this.
living?
Yeah, he's
I'm a ballet dancer. Belly dancer. Ballet dancer. Ballerina. Ballerino.
He's funny.
Ballet
cute.
dancer. Like modern dance. Point shoes? Tutus? Why? Can you do a split? I can. Not right now. Not many boys in ballet. I know. And you... ooh, I am... Not gay. Not gay. So you get to like touch a lot of girls.
Yeah.
I think I like that because it also feels like him discovering that he's like
Yeah.
maybe interested in comedy.
Yes.
So it's kind of like the new comedy vibe, you know, which is very sweet.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think.
I need to bring some more hardcore shit in.
No,
We don't
yours was
even-
good. We all
No.
have different.
I'm
That was good.
We believe that you're hardcore.
like hardcore stuff too, you guys.
Everybody likes different things.
no,
and
but
that's
I'm
what
bringing
makes
in
us
like
good.
the softest shit.
Well, you just had these like little bitch ass boys with like nasty little mustaches, which are usually hot.
But they're really connected to nature.
It'd be better if they were hot and connected to
Yeah.
nature.
Okay, fine. I'm gonna have you're gonna not believe the kind of stuff I'm bringing next time.
It's just gonna be porn. She'll like show us just like straight
Yeah.
up like.
Have you guys seen this website, Pornhub?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
I know it's on TikTok, but they're fucking.
Yeah, there is. I'll say I have discovered a British a British actor who like does a lot of stuff and is in a lot of period pieces. He is doing audio erotica.
That's good.
Yeah, you can feel free to share that.
I'll share that. We'll
free
be
to share that
discussing
with
that soon. Yeah.
All right.
Well, we're all very different. It seems we all have different tastes, different touches, and different tutus.
Absolutely.
Stuck the landing.
No, I didn't.
Thanks for listening to Softcore. We'll be back again sometime soon talking
Yeah.
about more of this kind of thing.
More of this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.